If you want to learn how to automatically draft a response based on your calendar using AI, you will want to check this out. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name is Zach Stevenson. I am a business processes and no-code consultant. If you have questions about streamlining your processes, send me a message or book a free consult using the link in the description below. This is what it looks like in action. I'm in my Gmail account. I've opened up my email that is requesting a time to meet with me. So what I can do is hit the reply button. I'll go down, click the calendar icon there. The script will run. I can remove anything that is not relevant to this conversation. Done. Now the script has run and inputted the information accordingly. So it pulled in that the person's name was John that messaged me, and it has brought in available meeting times based off of my calendar. So as you can see here, the person requested to meet with me on March 23rd. These are the times that I found inside of my calendar. So we will verify those. Here's my calendar here. So at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and 12 p.m., I am unavailable on that day. And so 11:30, 1:30, and 3:30. So it did a pretty good job. There's a little bit of overlap here on the 11:30 time because he did ask to meet with me for an hour, and I have another meeting that begins at 12. Overall, it did a pretty good job using the AI with the Ply button integrated into Gmail. So if that is of interest to you, stick around and I will go further into a tutorial here. So what you will need to do is install the Ply extension if you have not already and set up an account. So just go to ply.io, and then you can set up an account, install the Ply extension, and you can get started. So here I have already clicked the button up in my extension toolbar. So when you click it, it will bring up your option once you've logged in to click create add-on. But since I already have it built here, I will just go in and edit this feature. So what it's done is brought in the display button and the context based off of the Gmail email. So those will already be there for you. Then the next part that you will want to add is you'll just click the plus. You'll bring in an interface, or at least this is how I did it. Again, I just put this together relatively quickly, but it gives you an idea of what you can do and the capabilities of using AI and Ply. So the interface allows me to make that edit in line to get rid of the information that I don't need, like the hi Zach, the introduction, and any other irrelevant information. So again, this is just an interface that I brought in, and I will show you how that works. So you just click the plus and interface, and you can add a block and pick either the text input or a rich text input, and that's what I selected. From there, I click the prefill, and the prefill, click get contextual data from Gmail, and scroll down to the content section there. And you can click use first item and run to create sample data. Done. And so that will have brought in the text from the email that it's testing, and that's where you'll be able to edit the text that we send to ChatGPT. So from there, what you will need is a manipulate date, because we're going to go in and search Google Calendar. So the manipulate date, I just use the date input from the date that the script was launched. So that comes from your very first object there. And then I use the add days, and I just picked an arbitrary number of 21 days. So it's going to look into a max of 3 weeks into my calendar from today. But you can pick anything that's kind of relevant to you. If you only book meetings 2 weeks in advance, then that's fine too. Then your next step is in the search events. You'll want to connect your calendar. All of these require you to make a connection to your various platforms. So Google Calendar, Gmail, ChatGPT, and so on. So you want to pull in your calendar, which in my case is my business name. And then you have to specify a date range. So again, I just picked the original date that the automation has been initiated, which is today in this case. And then from the manipulate date function, I brought in the 21 days from today. So that gives the date range that we're searching Google Calendar. So from the calendar results, we're going to convert the table into text. So in this case, I just selected the start date, the start time, and the end time. And then this is manually typed in at this point, date, start time, and end time. And you'll see why it's set up like this in a second. This is going to be part of our ChatGPT prompt. Again, you're going to have to connect OpenAI and the ChatGPT module using your API key. So if you do not have an account with OpenAI, you'll have to set one up, and then you can go in and access your API key. There is a cost associated, but it's pretty small for individual users. So in the send a prompt, you'll pick the model that you want to use. We're using the GPT 3.5 Turbo, which is actually the ChatGPT version currently. So that is probably your best option and the cheapest. The prompt here, basically what I'm telling it to do, I'm just giving it some instructions, is to generate a response to an email request for a meeting. The request is as follows. That's bringing in the text from my email. And I'm telling it, provide the requester with up to 3 available time slots for the meeting after 10:30 a.m. Let's just say this person does not want to have meetings before 10:30 a.m. And then to help with your response, here's my current calendar, and it is bringing in the last module there, the convert table to text. So that is the part that is looking at the start date with the start time and end time. So what that is going to do once it goes to the ChatGPT AI, it's going to look at all the times that I am currently unavailable in that time range, and then make sure to take into account all 3 fields of date, start time, and end time. I did find that it was having some issues with the end time, and I think it may still be a little bit, but anyway, it does a pretty good job. Provide the response in the following format. So I gave an example of the response that I want it in. So that's how that part works. And then to finish it off, all I am doing is sending the response from the AI back into Gmail. So I just selected that from the option here by clicking the plus, send prompt, and response. That's basically it. So there's probably a lot of different ways to set up that type of workflow. Again, I just put this together relatively quickly. It's wild what you can do in about 30 minutes. There's a slight learning curve to Ply, but it is pretty easy to use, and that's super impressive what it can do. That's it for this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more tips, tricks, and tutorials in the future.